Hi, welcome back to my channel. I know some of you may be wondering, or maybe not so much because I only got like 11 subscribers, where I've been. I have kind of been laying low since my last video. So if we take a step back, I recorded a video I think about 2.5, almost 3 weeks out of the hospital, giving you an update on like my fibroids, how my recovery was going, and how everything was shaping up. I am now 12 weeks, almost 13 weeks post-surgery. So yeah, that was like 10 weeks ago. So I have a lot to fill you all in on. First I will say, I think in the last video, I stated that I had went to the urgent care, Kaiser urgent care, and the doctor there, when he checked me out, said that I had a mild infection. I went there because my wound was leaking some fluid. So I went there and he said, oh yeah, I mean, it's mildly infected, so here's some ointment, put the ointment on there, and you know, it should be fine. That was not the case. So fast forward a week, and about a week and like 2 days later, that next Tuesday, I was looking, you know, because I checked my wound daily, kind of looked at it, and it was a lot more liquid coming from it. I was really paranoid about it. If you ask my husband and my mom, like, I was just worrying them about it because, for one, I'm not a doctor, and I said this before, so I didn't really know what to really look out for, but I knew when something didn't look right. So I went back to the doctor that Tuesday night, and they, you know, ran all the tests and kind of looked at my charts and all of that, and he was like, yeah, this is very infected. At this point, it was very. So mind you, I went from mildly infected to very infected, and I was putting the ointment on there every morning, you know, every day, like he told me to. So I don't know how I went from mildly infected. Well, let me not say that. I do know how I went from mildly to very. So in the hospital, the doctor who was on duty actually started fussing at me. He was like, does your GYN, the person who performed your surgery, do they know that you have this infection? Have you informed them? Have you called her nurse? And, you know, just really kind of going in on me. And I was like, hold on, dude. Like, I'm here because I know something is wrong. No, I did not take the time on my drive here to call my GYN office and say, oh, by the way, I think I have an infection. I'm here to get seen for you to do that, you know. So needless to say, they ended up running a CAT scan, like a full body CAT scan, to just make sure that the infection was just at the skin level and that it had not gone to like my uterus and all of that. And I was really scared. Y'all, I had a panic attack. Mind you, I did say I have generalized anxiety disorder. I had a full-blown panic attack in the little nursing area thingy. The lady was trying to stick me with a needle and the blood was coming out dark. Mind you, if you remember from my previous video, I explained to you I had soreness in my wrists and my arms were really sore because of all of like the IVs and everything I had in me when I was in the hospital, which I said had to heal. So I told this lady this. I was like, well, I was in the hospital for 4 days. I had a bunch of IVs in me. My arms are still kind of sore. I don't think you need to go into this arm. Like, I was literally telling her, don't penetrate this arm for what you need. You may need to go into the other arm that wasn't as, you know, bruised. Well, said nurse decided to still go into this arm after I said, because my veins in this arm are bigger. And so they tend to go into that arm just because the veins are bigger. But I told you, don't do that. And then the blood was very dark. And she's like, what's going on with your blood? Lady, I was in ICU. I had 6 liters of blood. I had a blood transfusion of 6 liters of blood. I told you not to go into that arm. So anyway, needless to say, I had a full-blown panic attack in the nurse's office. So much so where, like, my husband had to come back there with me. I was hyperventilating. It was really bad. And I'm not one of those people that are scared of needles. Like, I've never had an issue with needles or getting shots or any of that. So I knew it was something that was like residual from actually having the surgery and everything. I went through that. So anyway, I got through that. They actually took a culture of the wound to kind of see what type of infection it was to figure out what antibiotics to give me. That night they gave me an IV for antibiotics, and then they gave me, you know, medicine to fill for antibiotics, and I started taking that immediately. The next morning the doctor called me and said they got the wound culture results back, and the antibiotics they gave me wasn't like the best antibiotics for the type of infection I have, so they switched up my antibiotics, but that was fine. So I started taking the new antibiotics. Then they also told me they redressed the wound and everything, and they did like a white dry dressing or whatever that is, a wet dry dressing, and they told me I would have to change that dressing every morning and reapply ointment and all of that myself, and that freaked me out because I was like, again, I'm not a doctor, so I was like, oh, if I don't do this right, it's going to get infected again. So I had all kind of things going through my head, y'all. So I left the doctor's office and, you know, was taking the medicine and everything, and all, you know, it started healing day by day. I noticed, you know, it getting like a layer of like scab on it and things of that nature. What I did also notice, like that first 1 to 2 days, like it smelled really, really bad. I'm sorry, maybe TMI, but this is just to help someone else who maybe has the same type of surgery to know like the signs of if their wound is infected. So it had a really, really bad odor. It did not have a bad odor before, but I think because of like the pus and stuff that was coming out, because so much was coming out, it started having a bad odor. But once the antibiotics got in my system, I could say like by day 3, by day 4, it was, you know, subsiding. Another thing that I found out, and this is why I ended up getting the infection, is I was taking showers every day. My doctor did not tell me I could not take showers every day because my wound had like a, I don't know, it was like a tape thingy over the actual stitches and everything. So she said it was covered, it was fine, I can take showers, you know, and everything should be fine. What I didn't realize is as I was taking the showers, water was getting through that tape and not getting out, so it was retaining moisture, and that is what fueled the infection. So either way, because I was taking showers, you know, I would have gotten infected anyway. So I ceased taking showers the way I was. Like I was still like bathed, but I would not let the water hit any area where my wound was. Like I kind of bathed backwards. It was a situation. But I washed. Had I known that, I would not have taken as many showers as I did. So that was the root cause of me actually getting the infection. So, sorry, I'm going back through. Why is my phone doing this? I'm going back through my notes. Okay, there we go. Going back through my notes so I make sure I cover everything. So yeah, definitely not a 1. Definitely not mildly infected. Like the infection got worse progressively. Urgent care. Antibiotics. So I was actually on antibiotics for 2 weeks. So after I got released from the urgent care, immediately I followed up with my GYN, Dr. Carter, who actually performed my surgery, to get on her calendar to come back in to get looked at. And during her checkup, you know, she saw everything was healing. She was like, oh, the infection is going away. I can tell, you know, the antibiotics are working. And she just put me on like another week. Initially, he just gave me antibiotics for 7 days, but she gave me another 7 days just to be sure. Because of this actually pushed back my healing, because my body was now trying to heal the infection instead of trying to heal the wound, if that makes sense. So yeah, I was still in pain here and there, still not able to go about and do like my normal activity. Actually got kind of sad during this phase because I thought I was on the end, like the mend, like I thought I was getting better, but when I got this infection, it kind of derailed everything. So that was an issue. But you know, I went back to her, and then she wanted me to come back 2 weeks later to get checked again. Because of that, I ended up having to stay out of work a week and a half longer. She wanted to be extra cautious. Mind you, even me sitting up like I am now for long periods of time was still painful, which I expressed to her, and she was like, yeah, well, you're not ready to go back to work. One, because you got this infection, so that's actually, your wound is actually not healed yet. And then 2, because you're still having this pain, you're not going to be able to sit at a desk, which is what my job requires to do your job. So I actually had to end up staying out of work longer. And at this time, she actually had to have a conversation with me, because I was going through a process where mentally I was ready to go. Like, I had gotten past the surgery, you know, I thought I was recovering, and I was just ready to go. But every time mentally I would say, okay, let's do this. My body said no. My body literally stopped me every step of the way. And because I'm a natural doer, I really had to slow down, and then I really took this time to just scale it all the way back. That's why I didn't do an update video. Like, I really wanted to focus on just like healing and being like at peace with the process, which initially going into this is where my stance was, and then I think I lost that along the way with everything that happened. So I was trying to get that back and just really give my body the time to heal and do what it needed to do. So in that visit with my doctor, that's when I learned how many liters of blood I lost. And I actually got a transfusion for 6 liters of blood. I then went to try to look up how much blood is in your body, and if somebody was like, it was like 5 to 7 liters. So I lost a significant amount of blood. I don't want to harp on that, because when I stay there, it's just not good. We also discussed what my future looks like. So I think in video 1, I discussed, you know, how this all came about, and that I definitely want to have kids. And, you know, just asking my doctor, what does that look like for me? So she does not want my husband and I to try for another year. So I have to wait a whole entire year before I try to conceive. And then, even then, she was like, you know, they would not allow me to carry the baby full term. I would have to get a C-section at 38 weeks to prevent uterine rupture and all of that. So I've actually started, me being the planner I am, I've actually started looking at different healthcare options, because we have open election at my job coming up in October, and then my husband's job coming up in November. So I want to get under a plan that supports IVF if you have infertility issues, because she did discuss that with me as well. She was like, it may be a chance. She's not saying this will happen, but you know, the doctors always give you the worst case scenario. She was like, there may be a chance that you can't conceive naturally, and you may have to do IVF. So if I have to do IVF, I want to make sure I'm under the right plan to get as much covered through insurance as I can. So I've actually started like kind of researching that, because I mean, open enrollment is coming upon us in probably about 3 more weeks. So I'm trying to look at that, which may seem crazy to some people, but I mean, I don't know what else to do. Do I just like go with the flow, and then next year when we actually try to have a baby, if we can't naturally conceive, then I'm like scrounging trying to figure out how I'm going to get up, you know? So I'm not stressing about it, but I'm just, again, trying to plan appropriately. The scar is healed, completely healed. So after the infection, I think it took about 2.5 weeks for the infection to actually go away and everything. Then the scar, you know, actually healed, and it had, you know, a tissue over it, and it looked like, you know, like when you get a scrape on your arm or you burn yourself, how, you know, you get the little discoloration and things of that nature. At the end of the video, I'll do a view of like kind of like how the scar looks now and everything. But it did heal, and I am fully healed. The soreness from my wrist is gone. Like that left, I think, like week 3 or so. So that's gone. And then I don't know if you recall in the second video, I told you I had to have a central line because of the whole blood transfusion and them giving me plasma. And so that did end up leaving a scar. I asked my doctor about it. She said, well, monitor it. I mean, there's really nothing to do. I've been putting like the scar cream on it when I go to bed at night, but that's about it. So I guess the question is, and what I kind of asked my doctor when she gave me the release to go back to work, I was like, where do I go from here? You know, like, I mean, I went through all of this, got the fibroids removed. I am, you guys, and this is me being like very, very vulnerable. I am definitely scared of these things growing back. I have looked and read, and you know, a lot of people, you know, a lot of them grow back. Like, and my doctor didn't even get all of my fibroids. I don't know if I told you guys that. She removed 70 fibroids, but she left about 15 in there that were like less than like 3 centimeters. Like, they were really small. So I started researching like natural fibroid elimination. I did like a lot of like research on like what causes fibroids and how can your body heal your fibroids naturally and all of this. So I'm really trying to go down that route of trying to heal these fibroids naturally. And what that means for me is like really changing my diet. I learned through my research that fibroids is caused by estrogen dominance. So it happens when your estrogen level So the main reproductive hormones that women have are estrogen and progesterone. When your estrogen level is higher than your progesterone level, it's estrogen dominance, and that is what causes and fuels fibroid growth. It also causes and fuels like breast tumors in the breast, endometriosis, and a lot of other like reproductive issues. So because of that, I'm really working and have been working with my husband. We've kind of like switched our diet. So I'm going more plant-based as much as I can. I'm kind of doing an 80-20 rule. I'm trying to eat clean 80% of the time, plant-based, non-dairy, no meat. And then 20% of the time I'm doing like things on the weekend, because like my Monday through Fridays are pretty set, but it's on the weekends that I go a little awry, and I'm extending myself grace. Like I don't want to become so consumed with, you know, beating myself up over this transition, because think about it. I've been eating a certain way my entire life. So I'm not going to be able to change that in a matter of a month, a matter of 2 months, a matter of 3 months. So this is a gradual transition. I can say I have really good weeks, and sometimes I have bad weeks. This particular week was a bad week. The week before it was good. So I'm trying to stay consistent. I'm going to get back on track next week. You know, whenever I have a bad week, I just really, you know, push myself and say, okay, next week we'll start over. You'll, you know, stay on track. And I have been doing pretty good. I switch up between smoothies and juices in the morning. I do like an overnight oats with almond milk for breakfast. For lunch, I do quinoa, black beans, corn, salsa, and avocado, like almost like a Chipotle bowl, but much healthier. And then for dinner, I'll usually do like some quinoa or brown rice and like black eyed peas or some kind of beans and stuff that I cook in the crock in my Instapot. I can say with living this type of lifestyle, it does require you to take the time to prepare meals. And for me, that lately has been my version of self-love. Like in the morning, I used to be like rushing out the house. Oh, I got to do this. I got to go to work. All of this is going on at work. Now I'm like, I'm waking up an hour early. I do my devotional, give the Lord the time he needs, and then I prepare my meals. And I actually take that time, because to me, that's self-love. I'm fueling my body for the things that it needs, and that's what I need to do for myself right now. And I think it's going to create a healthier lifestyle long term, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to do a quick diet and say, oh, this is a quick fix. I've done this, I've done that. No, I'm trying to do something that's going to be here for the long run. So I'm being realistic with my expectations in the transition. And it also helps that my husband is on board with it. It's funny, coincidentally, and I don't think he'll mind me sharing this, but a few weeks or 4 weeks or so after my surgery, he went for his like annual physical, and the doctor actually said he had high blood pressure and wanted to put him on blood pressure pills. Y'all, my husband's only 43 years old. So he was kind of like, hold on, you know, me and him both, we're not pill takers. Like, I'd rather do something naturally and change my diet before I just automatically go to medicine, unless it's like a dire situation like with my infection and everything. But I'm not going to automatically lean to, you know, medicine. I'll try to figure out a solution before medicine. So he's actually switched up his diet as well along with me, and then he goes back. I think his appointment should be coming up soon here for him to get tested again. The doctor told him to come back in like 6 or 7 weeks to see where he was. So I think I spoke about having kids, and it's funny because I go back and forth, you know, with this, but I rest firmly on my faith. I'm not beating myself up about what the outcome with me conceiving naturally is going to be. Do I get sad sometimes about the situation? Of course I do. I mean, anyone who's dealing with something like this, that's natural. That's a natural feeling. But do I wallow in it? No, I don't, because I have so much else to be thankful for. So much else. And it's, to me, I feel like I am a maternal person by instinct. Like, I know I was meant to be somebody's mom. And I always say, if I can't conceive naturally, we'll adopt. I mean, there are plenty of kids out here that need a home and a nurturing environment. And my husband and I are totally willing to be that for someone if I can't conceive naturally. So we've explored different options. I have a great job. I work for a great company with great benefits, and they will actually help, you know, if we do choose to adopt, they'll actually help with some of the costs for adoption. So there, you know, that's my outlook on it. I feel like with life, we sometimes feel entitled to certain things, like, oh, well, you know, I'm this person, and oh, of course I'm going to be able to do this, or of course I'm going to have this, or of course I'm going to have that. You're not entitled to anything, and just because your life isn't working out the way that you assume it should does not mean you're not living or have a blessed life. That's just my opinion on it. Current weight. So in my last video, I updated you guys that I was at 163 pounds post 2.5 weeks out of the hospital. I weighed myself this morning. I'm at 166. So I've gained like 3 pounds, again, probably from my not eating the best on the weekends. And I haven't officially started exercising yet. So I'm going to actually add that to my routine this coming week. I wanted to give myself more than enough time to kind of really recover. So I think I'm going to start doing like a light walking and a little running this week and some yoga. So alright, so I'll show you guys kind of what the scar looks like now. You can kind of see how it's healed. My doctor was so funny because after she did the surgery, she kept saying, oh, I did such a good job with your stitching. I did such a good job with your stitching. And I was kind of looking at her weirdly, but you gotta understand, she's a doctor, so that's her job. So she was really proud of her work, and I get it. You know, for me, like, when I do a good analysis, a good financial analysis, I'm very proud of it. So I got where it was coming from, but I was kind of looking at her like, girl, why are you so excited about this stitching? So you can kind of see the little indent here from the scarring. And this is the side view of my stomach. So yeah. I can't say that this whole experience has taught me a lot. Actually, I was thinking about journaling, writing it down in a journal, like just to get it out, like from my mind and everything. I think that might be helpful. But also talking to you guys and hopefully helping someone out there who's going through the same thing. So many women, I know I've said this over and over again, but throughout my process, I was shocked at how many women were affected by this, like in the black, particularly in the black community. How many women are affected by this? Like, I would casually tell them, oh, I had to have fibroid surgery. People say, oh, I had that too. I heard that so much. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about it. Like, as women, we're naturally strong beings, and I think we kind of deal with things and just go with the flow and just get through it and say, okay, well, this is just, you know, another hump, you know, in my journey that I got to get over. But I think it's important to talk about these things, because by sharing, you're helping someone else who's going through like a similar situation. And it's always good to have like a point of reference and like real life experiences. I know that was very helpful for me to kind of talk with people who had similar surgeries, to kind of know what to expect, and then also to know, you know, how this can be prevented in the future and things that different people are doing to prevent, you know, their fibroids from growing back. So I just encourage everyone, you know, just to talk about these things more. And I mean, some people may see it as being vulnerable. To me, I feel like it's a part of my testimony. I'm going to share it as much as possible, because I tell you guys, throughout this whole process, I have been so firmly and grounded and rooted in my faith that I know it was nothing but God that brought me out on the other end. And I'm willing to share that with people, so they know kind of, you know, things that you go through, not even from like a religious standpoint. I get it, you know, that's a big thing nowadays, people who don't believe in God, and I do, so it is what it is. But I stand rooted, and I firmly, you know, grounded in my faith, and I believe that sharing, as cliche as it may sound, is caring. So coming up from my channel, I am going to also start doing some hair tutorials. I'm natural. I've been natural for almost 10 years now. I went natural in 2009. So September 2009. So my 10-year natural anniversary is actually coming up next year. So a year from now. And it's been a journey. I can say it has been quite a journey. And I want to share that, kind of like where I am now with it, things that I'm doing now. I am having to do a mildly big chop. I did one at the end of December, and then I'm doing another one probably at the beginning or mid-October because of extensive heat damage that I got. So yeah, I'm going to share some of that. So I'm going to start doing a lot of videos around different things. I will do updates on my fibroids and also my journey to conceiving, kind of like what that looks like, what that will look like for me. Just again, to be, you know, very transparent and to help someone out there who could be going through the same thing, and, you know, looking for me, you know, when I look at other YouTube channels, it provides me with a level of support because it gives me, what's the word I'm looking for? It gives me peace to know that I'm not the only one experiencing this. I think when you're going through a storm or you're going through something, you're so focused on what you're going through that it kind of makes you take a step back and be like, you're not the first and you won't be the last to experience this. So thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for being patient with me, all 11 of my subscribers I have right now. Thank you so much. I hope this video was helpful to someone, and please come back and join me for my other videos. Bye.